Hello to all you survivors out there. It's me, Prepper Zan, back again with more commentary of what's going on out here in Houston, Texas, and in Texas in general. As you guys probably been hearing on your news that 6 people died of hypothermia, and then there was over 300 plus carbon monoxide cases. So, if the news is saying 6 people, then it's probably like 600, 700, maybe 2,000. Those numbers are not accurate. And the people and their families who died of the carbon monoxide cases, it's just unprecedented what everybody's been going through here in Texas. Now, they did lift the water boil notice on yesterday, but I'm sorry, you guys, I still don't trust it. I feel like what happened here was criminal. I feel like it was intentional. I feel that because they probably thought a lot of more people were going to die of the virus, and because a lot of people more people than what they expected did not succumb, they're doing all these other different things to kill off people. I do believe in the plan to population. I'm an energy person and I'm a spiritual person. I pick up on energy. And when we were going through what we were going through here in Texas with the grid being shut off and the water supply, I instantly felt something very evil and sinister. I felt as if it was purposely being done, and it was an agenda behind it. And I'm gonna express this to you people because I think it's important that we be real with one another and how we feel and what we're seeing. And this is why I go out and I report these things on site so you guys can see. I don't want to just come here and talk about it. I want you guys to actually see what's going on right before our very eyes. This is real, what we are going through here in the world and in this country, and it is something very, very evil. Now, these are the cases that have been reported. This is extreme cold killed Texans in their bedrooms, vehicles, and backyards. At least 58 people died in storm-affected areas stretching to Ohio, victims of carbon monoxide, poisoning, car crashes, drownings, house fires, and hypothermia. It goes on to state, San Antonio, Carol Anderson spent much of his life in southeast Texas, where the most feared natural disasters spin up from the Gulf of Mexico during the warm months of hurricane season. But last week, Mr. Anderson, a 75-year-old who breathed with the help of oxygen tanks, knew that a different kind of storm was heading his way. To prepare, he ordered a fresh supply of oxygen that his stepdaughter said never arrived. There was a spare tank, however, in the pickup outside his one-story brick house in Crosby, Texas, just northeast of Houston. So when Mr. Anderson, an Army veteran who went by Andy, was found dead inside his truck on Tuesday, his stepdaughter figured he had gone outside to retrieve it. His main tank back in the house runs on electricity, and the power had gone out the night before as a deadly cold descended on much of Texas. When the final tally could be much higher, Mr. Anderson was among at least 58 people who died in storm-affected areas stretching to Ohio, victims of carbon monoxide poisoning, car crashes, drownings, house fires, and hypothermia. In Galveston County along the Texas Gulf Coast, the authorities said 2 residents had died from exposure to the cold and 1 person from possible carbon monoxide poisoning. 4 other deaths remain under investigation and were possibly linked to the frigid weather. Judge Mark Henry, the county's top elected official, said he would have evacuated some of his most vulnerable residents in advance of the winter storm had he known that power outages would plunge the county into darkness for a few days. And this is what I stated in one of my previous videos. You just don't inform people of you're going to cut the grid off. You don't inform people of that. You don't just not tell people this before it occurs. They knew this. They knew this. You don't just cut off the water and don't inform people ahead of time. Listen, these are the steps and approaches that we may have to take. These are the steps we may have to take just in case the energy is overbearing the grid, and to keep from having a nationwide, a statewide blackout, these are the precautions that we're going to have to take. One is we're going to have to shut down the grid. Two, we're going to have to cut off the water supply. You inform people of these things so they could properly prepare. As I stated, even as preppers, if you have sick loved ones like myself, like my mother, and as this gentleman they're speaking of who needs oxygen to live, and his oxygen has to come from electricity, all the people in the hospitals, all the people in the nursing homes, you just shut down the grid and you don't inform these people ahead of time. Like I said, here in Texas, nobody could have been prepared for this. Honestly, really, 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 really. I mean, truly, even as a prepper, and I'm coming to you guys with this information so we can think another way when it comes to prepping. You know, people with cars. A lot of the cars saved people. The ones who did not run them inside of their garages, the ones who went to like gas stations and stuff like me and my family did. Until the next day when I went to got my supplies. And once I got my supplies, I wasn't even worried about it. But that saved a lot of people. But it was still very dangerous to be in those cars, running those cars, trying to get heat. A lot of people died in those cars. Died. You know, this is just it's unbelievable and it's unimaginable. He said the Electric Reliability Council of Texas, which is ERCOT, which manages the state's power grid, had warned only of rolling blackouts. Instead, most residents were without power for at least 48 hours. This is what I'm stating. This is what I'm saying right now. They did not inform everybody of what their plans were and what their intentions were. Of course they didn't, because I feel like it was pre-planned. I really do. I feel that in my spirit. I feel like they wanted to do this to kill off a lot of people. We would have been happy to order an evacuation if we'd been told Sunday the power was going to go out and stay out for days, he said, noting the county is more accustomed to ordering evacuations in advance of hurricanes. A spokeswoman for ERCOT said on Friday that the surge in demand stressed the power grid, a crisis so dire that the local utilities were not able to rotate the outages. Okay, so you guys, you see what we're going through out here. You see what we're going through out here. Store you some gasoline somewhere safe. Somewhere safe. If you have to Google how and go to these prepping channels on how to properly store gasoline. And I would suggest, I know a lot of people don't have land. A lot of preppers are city preppers, but you need to find out. Or if you can afford a generator that's run on solar, because it was so dire. People with generators. There were long, long lines, even at the gas stations. It was more gas stations that did not have gas because the lights were out than there were gas stations with gas. So if you were lucky to find a gas station that had gas, you had to be in a long line, first of all. Second of all, you were limited to how much gas that you could actually get. So those people who had gas running generators, they probably could keep running those generators because of the lack of gas. It was just it's just a terrible situation, and there's still people still without power and still without water. They said they lifted the water board notices, but like I just stated, I still don't trust it. I had a viewer ask me, "You're a prepper or not? Why are you looking for water?" I was in the store to get water. Yes, I was, because I already have water. I had packs and packs of water. I have 55-gallon barrels of water. But as preppers, you don't want to use all of your supply. You want to keep on stacking up. We have animals. We have plants. We have vegetables that we grow. Just as a human being alone, when you have a family, then I have my mother who's not well. She has to have 3 or 4 meals a day. That's a lot of water. I don't just boil that water. I use bottled water. I use water that's not contaminated. Even before this crisis occurred, I never used tap water. It's the most disgusting thing in the world to me. And I definitely don't cook in it. I don't like to eat out because I know they use the tap water. And it has all kinds of diseases and germs in it. So at its height, about 4 million Texans were without power this week as temperatures plummeted to the teens and single digits. About 165,000 remained without electricity on Friday, though millions were still without running water or under notices to boil their tap water. In certain neighborhoods, I spoke to a young lady the other day. She had 6 children. I asked her, how did they manage? How did they get through that? She stated that it was so cold. She thought her children were going to freeze. Her youngest child is only 6 years old. I said, well, what did you guys do? She said, I had them put on a lot of clothes. And here in Houston, a lot of us don't have, a lot of people here don't have the winter gear. As my viewers who've already been following me for a long time, you guys know I travel back and forth to New York. I am an entertainer. I am a vocalist. I have performed with a lot of major people all over the world. Technotronic Yaki K, the voice of Shake Your Body and Pump Up the Jam. I was her ex-background vocalist for many years. I've appeared on MTV. Not to go into that resume, but I'm just saying I do a lot of traveling. And I also do a lot of things up there in New York. I just came from New York a week before this happened, and there was a big snowstorm up there in New York. The lights didn't shut off because those people are properly prepared for that. You don't hear of a lot of deaths because those people have coats, the right type of coats, the right type of boots, the right type of gloves. Here in Texas, we don't have those types of things because we don't experience those types of temperatures in the month of February. Never, ever, hardly. And a lot of people lost their homes because the pipes busted. We don't have the insulated pipes like they do in the east and the north, because those people are used to those types of frigid temperatures, not here in the south. People were not even aware of what to do. The local news started telling people after the fact of how to turn off the water. Okay, you guys, it's good to know that information, but people should have been informed of that before time. And I know a lot of you guys say, well, you shouldn't depend on the news. You shouldn't depend on, and you're absolutely right. But a lot of people are not knowledgeable of what to do. A lot of people, unfortunately, depend on the system, and the system is steadily let us down. If you guys don't never see it, please open up your eyes now. I know a lot of us was just prepping just to prepare, or some of you guys are new to prepping. You just started prepping since the virus, but we cannot depend on the system. We can't depend on their lights. We can't depend on their food. We can't depend on their water. We can't even depend on their housing. A lot of these houses wasn't even equipped. And like I stated, all this stuff been going on out here in Houston, even with Hurricane Harvey. Well, all these different hurricanes, these people get all this funding and nothing ever changes. It's as if they like these things to occur so they can get all this money and pocket it. Because the people who are the most vulnerable, they get nothing. They might give them some extra food stamps. What you gonna do with some extra food stamps? Yes, you can get a little bit more food, but you need money. You need money for your repairs. You need money to replace all the things you've lost. So people here in Texas was not prepared for that. It's just an agenda. And we've heard these politicians say, it's going to be a dark winter. We've heard politicians say, oh, if they're going to survive what's coming to them, they're going to keep on sticking it to us. I'm thinking about getting an underground bunker. I really am. Can I afford all these things? No, like a lot of us. But I would start saving and putting away money like never before in order to get it. Because I just think they're out to kill us all. Y'all can say I'm crazy. Y'all can say whatever y'all think of me. This is what I feel. And I'm going on my gut feeling. So here we go. It also states that since still there were signs of relief in a hard-hit Austin, which still have bad water. Austin is still have bad water. I talked to my friend in Austin. He said they still have bad. He said it's really bad out there. A lot of those people lost their homes. And Austin is a very expensive city. And those homes cost a lot of money. City manager Spencer Crunk said on Friday that more than 1 million gallons of water would arrive over the next 2 days. The city plans to set up distribution centers, and Mr. Crunk said water would be delivered to the most vulnerable citizens, such as older people and those without homes. So you guys, I have to just minimize this right quick because I want to go back and I want to talk about the carbon monoxide cases. This is another situation. The carbon monoxide cases. Harris County is slammed with 300 plus carbon monoxide cases. A lot of people died this way. Harris County has seen more than 300 carbon monoxide poisoning cases as temperatures bottomed out Monday in Houston and the state's electricity grid failed, sending people scrambling for heat sources. That includes 90 carbon monoxide poisoning calls to the Houston Fire Department and 100 cases in Memorial Hermann's emergency rooms. Many of the cases stem from people using barbecue pits and generators indoors to stay warm. So you guys, we know not to do that. Unfortunately, at the time, because I also had a barbecue, I also have a barbecue pit. You couldn't go out there and barbecue. I don't care how much clothes you had. It was freezing. I even had a friend talk about the ice. He said he heard it was fake ice. It was just that cold. So they said that a Memorial Hermann spokesperson stated doctors are treating 60 of those cases at the hospital's Texas Medical Center location. With that number of patients going in, it's turning into a mini mass casualty event. All we heard in the city was sirens, police sirens, ambulance sirens, fire truck sirens. That's all you heard last week. Dr. Sam Prater, UT Health emergency physician who works with Memorial Hermann Hospital, he's the one who stated that more than half the patients were children. This is the unfortunate thing. It was so many children dying. This was a criminal act, and nobody's going to pay for it. This is what really gets me heated. How these people get away literally with murder. But let somebody of my kind or your kind do something. They're going to put them in jail 30, 40 years for having a little small blunt or a small weed, whatever they call that, joints or whatever they call that. These people won't do a lick of time. Now they're supposed to be going to face, I think the Senate this week. We're going to see how that play out. And on top of that, they're increasing the light bills. This one man, they slammed him with $16,000. There was a couple in Houston, they got a $2,000 light bill. So the governor had to prevent the utility companies from shutting people's power off because they couldn't pay the light bill. So we have to pay you guys going to increase our fees and charge us for your mess ups for something that you did. Y'all, this is just terrible. I tell you one thing, they drafted that $16,000 out that man's account. For $16,000, he could have went out the grid and got solar for years and would have been all right. This is the system we feed all our money into. This is how they treat us. The people we spend majority of our money on with rent, utility bills, going to their grocery stores to eat all that bad food. Yeah, I said it. It's bad food. I hate the food at the grocery stores. This is why I started growing my own vegetables, have my own fruit trees. And I'm about to start having some animals on my land. I'm about to get it together. You guys gonna see. I'm about to totally cut off depending on the system altogether. From renting their homes, from paying light bills, water bills, gas bills, renting their cars. Guys, if y'all can buy your own stuff, buy it. If you could buy your own vehicle, they have cash cards. They have cash trucks. $2,000 or $3,000. Yes, they're gonna have some minor issues to them, but I would rather pay for a transmission, pay for a motor, or pay for an alternator, pay for a battery, than be pumping my money into the system every month, paying a car note. As soon as you can't pay it, they're gonna come and confiscate that car from you. As soon as you can't pay your light bill, they're gonna turn off the lights, even after 30, 40, 50, 60 years of you paying it. I've seen this happen. I see this elderly lady here in Houston. She's like 80 something. She stayed in that house for like 30, 40 years. As soon as she had a health scare and she couldn't pay the bill the first month, they was issuing her an eviction notice. Is this what we want to, is this how we want to live? Dump all our money into system, into people, and into their programs, into their services that won't give us a glass of water when we need it, who cut off the lights when it's like 4 degrees on you? Is this how we want to live? No. Money is not easy to make. Money's hard to come by these days. Keep your money. Become independent. Buy you some land. You could get land for $500 down. A lot of us spend that money, waste that money on going out to eat and buying clothes. Save your money, buy you some land. Gain your independence and leave it to your children so they won't ever have to depend on the system. Start teaching your children now not to depend on the system. The night that it went cold and dark here in Houston, I was so glad. I raised my child up on being a prepper. She used to hate it. Oh, she said, "Oh, Mom, you just a pack rat. Oh, Mom, we don't need all this more. Oh, Mom, we don't need all this food. You just buying all this food. You buying all of these flashlights, all these candles." But I tell you one thing. The night that happened, my baby had solar lights, candles, flashlights, food. I was so grateful because like all my supplies were in another place. And I'll tell you a story about that in just a minute. All my supplies were in another place. She had everything. Now, we didn't have the generator, so we did go out because it got so cold. We did go out to find a hotel, which you couldn't find a hotel, and to get gas and to get something hot. But when I tell you, train your children on how to be preppers, do it now. If you have to do a run where y'all in the house turn off the lights for 3 or 4 days, turn off the water for 3 or 4 days, start teaching your children. Take them camping. Teach them now. Get them prepared. Get them prepared. Start working out every single day. Even if you do 15, 20 minutes of work out every single day. It was so dark, we didn't know if somebody was going to come try to rob us. Try to invade our property. And so I'm going to tell this story and I'm going to get off because I know it's 20 plus minutes. I just want you guys just to get on top of what you need to get on top of. Don't be dependent on the system. Last year when the virus first hit, the pandemic first hit, you know, I'm always listening to the preppers. Prepper Nurse One, Canadian Pepper, Prudent Pepper, Providence Pepper, Prepper Princess, Full Spectrum Survivor. I listen to these people. I listen to them. So, and even Pastor Dahl, I think, what's his name? He's the black man preacher. They always say, get out the cities, get out the cities, get out the cities. And I was always wanting to get land, but you know, I was lollygagging. But then when the virus hit, it was a sense of urgency. I went looking out for land, and I went to a little rural area, and I purchased a property. It wasn't even that much. This property was like $2,000 to $3,000, and I had it in a little savings account I had. I went and got it. Boom. Then I found another property. The property that I purchased, it wasn't unrestricted. So I said, I got to get it unrestricted where I can at least put an RV on it. So I went to the country. I found a little tiny house to live in. I'll show you some more of those. If y'all go back to my, like almost a year ago, I have a lot of stuff on my other channel. I'm going to have to bring it to this channel so you guys can see. You can see. I rented a little tiny house and I took all my stuff out there, all my preps. It was outside of Houston and some hours away. And when I tell you it was hard, and I'm a single woman, I'm not married. So I had to hire somebody, this one man, and then it was me packing all this stuff, all the food, generators, all my supplies, my water purification tablets. On top of that, all my PPP gear, all the cans of Lysol, all the bleach, every single thing. Get out there and had problems. It was racial tension, and I did not realize. I know I was the only black person in the area, which I didn't have a problem with because I'm not racist. I could be amongst anybody. You love me, I love you back. I'm colorblind, and so it was every time I go, I would have to come back to Houston, back and forth every day for work, and I'm still making my money in the city, but I was living out in the country, and I had so many cops pulling me over. It was just because I was black, and they would write me all these tickets, and I never drink and drive. I don't even hardly drink. And I always have insurance. I never speed. I'm one person who believes in abiding by the law. I hate getting in trouble. I don't want any type of bad thing going against me. So I kept getting stopped. They kept writing all these tickets into the country where I was living. You didn't have it where the trash people come pick up your trash, you know, at your house like they do in most residential areas in the city. You had to go out like 5-10 minutes away and drive to the incinerator, and you pay them, and then they dump your trash. So I was doing that, and they were stopping me. I was like, I can't live like this. I was afraid of my life. They had some KKK people there looking at me up and down. I was trying to start my banking. The people were just mean to me. I was like, I can't live like this. I was terrified. I had to move me and my family back to Houston. And I love the country, but everybody wasn't racist. I had really wonderful neighbors. Matter of fact, when I was in the country, we experienced a tornado out there. And because these things happen in Texas all the time. Experienced a tornado, everybody came together, but there was so many racist people, and I felt so uncomfortable. My kid kept crying because of how we were treated. So I came back. When I came back, I put all of my supplies and all of my preps in a storage unit. It wasn't the typical storage unit. It was like some friends who have like property, and they have like these containers in the back. They allow me to store my stuff there, and I give them a little bit every month, because you know what? I was like, I can't keep doing this until I get stable and until I can start building on my property in the country. I don't want all my preps, at my house in Houston, because if something happened, I don't want to lose it, because there was so much going on in the city, so much violence and crime. I didn't know if I was going to have to leave my house and, just abruptly leave and all my stuff there, somebody break in. So this is the reason why I didn't have all my things at me at the time of this event. And it's crazy because I always have my things, and the time that I needed it the most, I didn't. So you guys, please stay prepping. Please, I'm begging you, teach your children how to prep. I don't care how annoying they become, how irritated they get. And if they still don't want to listen, you just keep showing by example. Keep buying things, putting it up, And you guys can always go to zanhero.com. I have a lot of prepping things there. I have a lot of perishables, generators, land, if you're interested in buying land. If you don't want land in Texas, if there's an area you're looking for land, I can help you. Leave a comment, give me a thumbs up if you don't mind. And if you haven't, hit the subscribe button, and I'll be trying to come to you every day or every other day that I can. I'll be back out today, maybe, to get more things, get more documentation, more footage of what's going on here in our city. And until next time, you survivors, you keep on surviving. You don't stop. zanhero.com.